The twin suns of Tatooine blazed mercilessly overhead as the skiff glided across the endless dunes toward the great pit of Carkoon. Luke Skywalker stood at the edge of the plank, his hands bound, the desert wind whipping through his black robes. Behind him, the Sarlacc waited, a nightmare of teeth and tentacles nestled in its sandy prison, digesting its victims over 1,000 years of incomprehensible agony. Last chance, Skywalker. Join us or die. Luke glanced back at the barge where Leia, disguised as the bounty hunter Boushh, waited for his signal. On the skiff beside him, Lando Calrissian stood frozen in his guard's disguise, muscles tensed. Han Solo, still blind from carbonite sickness, gripped the railing with white knuckles. I warn you all, this is your last chance. Free us or die. The Hutt's laughter rolled like thunder. Move him into position. The guard behind Luke jabbed him with a force poke. Luke stepped forward, balancing on the plank's edge. He looked up. R2-D2 was in position on the barge's deck. Everything was ready. He gave the smallest nod to the astromech droid. Then Luke jumped. Time seemed to slow as he flipped backward through the air, his bound hands reaching for the lightsaber that would arc from R2's dome. But Jabba's guards were faster than expected, veterans of 100 executions. A force pike crackled through the air, its energized tip catching Luke in the ribs mid-flip. The impact sent him spinning wildly, his trajectory ruined. The lightsaber sailed past his grasping fingers by mere inches. No! The Sarlacc's tentacles rose to meet him like eager fingers. They wrapped around his legs, his waist, pulling him down into that ancient maw. Luke's hand shot out one last time, not for his weapon, but toward the barge, toward his sister, though neither of them yet knew the truth. Then the sand swallowed him whole. His lightsaber tumbled into the pit after him, disappearing into the darkness. Blaster fire erupted. Lando had torn off his mask, firing at the guards while Leia strangled Jabba with the very chains that bound her. R2-D2, still carrying Luke's recorded will and final messages, barely escaped the exploding barge with C-3PO. But even as they fled on the remaining skiff, a terrible silence had fallen over them. Luke Skywalker, last hope of the Jedi, was gone. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you're enjoying this content so far, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch these videos without subscribing. Imagine what we could accomplish if everyone subscribed. We thank you all for your continued support. Leia collapsed against the skiff's railing as they sped away from the burning wreckage. Something had torn inside her, something deeper than grief. It was as if a light had been extinguished in the universe itself, leaving only cold darkness where warmth had been. She didn't understand it, wouldn't fully understand it for days to come, but she felt Luke die through a connection she never knew existed. He's not dead. That's Luke we're talking about. He faced down Vader. He blew up the Death Star. He's not. He can't be. But Chewie's mournful howl said what none of them could bring themselves to speak. They had all seen it. The tentacles, the sand, the lightsaber following its master into oblivion. 3 days later, the Rebel Alliance leadership gathered aboard Home 1, Admiral Akbar's command ship. The conference room felt suffocating despite its size. Mon Mothma stood at the head of the table, her white robes seeming to dim in the overhead lights. We must face facts. Commander Skywalker is dead. With him dies our hope of the Jedi Order's return. The troops are devastated. Half of them joined because they heard about the kid who destroyed the Death Star. He was more than just a pilot to them. He was proof that one person could make a difference. Then we make sure his sacrifice meant something. Luke believed in this rebellion. We honor him by finishing what he started. But privately, in the quarters that had been Luke's, Leia discovered something that changed everything. R2-D2, traumatized by his master's death, finally played a recording Luke had made before the mission, just in case. Leia, if you're watching this, something's happened to me. There's so much I wanted to tell you, so much I should have said. The Force, it's not just for the Jedi. It's in you too. I can feel it. Yoda said there was another, and I think he meant you. We're family, Leia. Vader's our father. I know how impossible that sounds, but it's true. If I'm gone, you're the galaxy's last hope. Trust the Force. Trust yourself. The revelation shattered her world even as it explained so much. Her connection to Luke, her inexplicable hatred for Vader that went beyond ideology, the strange dreams that had haunted her childhood. Meanwhile, in the meditation chamber aboard the Executor, Darth Vader knelt before the hologram of Emperor Palpatine. The Dark Lord's breathing seemed more labored than usual, each mechanical inhalation carrying a weight that had nothing to do with damaged lungs. Your feelings betray you, Lord Vader. The boy is dead. I feel your disappointment. He was strong in the Force. His death is a waste of potential. A waste? No, my friend, it is a triumph. The last Jedi is extinct. The ancient religion dies with him, as it should have died long ago. There's no one left to oppose us. But as the transmission ended and Vader rose to his feet, something hollow echoed in his chest where a heart once beat. Luke, his son, was gone. The anger that had sustained him for decades suddenly felt pointless, like a fire with nothing left to burn. In his private chambers later, Vader stood before the meditation pod that helped him survive without his mask. But tonight, even breathing hurt in ways that had nothing to do with scarred lungs. "You were going to save me. You were the only one who believed there was something left to save." The construction of the second Death Star continued above the forest moon of Endor, but now it felt less like a trap and more like an executioner's axe being sharpened. Without Luke to lure in confrontation, Palpatine focused purely on crushing the rebellion through overwhelming force. 6 weeks passed since Tatooine. Han's vision had fully returned within days of their escape, but he almost wished it hadn't when he saw how haunted Leia looked. She barely slept, and when she did, the dreams came. It started as fragments, an old man in brown robes speaking of destiny, a small green creature whose backward speech somehow made perfect sense, and Luke, always Luke, reaching out through impossible distances, trying to guide her. "You're scaring me. You haven't been the same since Luke died. I know, Han, something's happened to me. I can feel things before they happen. I knew that Imperial Patrol would be there yesterday before our sensors picked them up. And the dreams." "What dreams?" "I dream of Luke. He's trying to tell me something about our father. Han, Vader is my father. Luke left a message with R2. We were twins, separated at birth. That's not possible. Yesterday I moved a hydro spanner across the room without touching it. Tell me what's possible." She had been training in secret for weeks now, using Luke's old training recordings, meditation exercises he documented. Without a master, without the ancient texts, she was inventing her own path. Where Luke had been patient, Leia was fierce. Where he had sought understanding, she demanded justice. Her approach to the Force was that of a warrior, not a monk. The Alliance was fracturing. Without their symbolic Jedi hero, morale had plummeted. Desertion rates climbed daily. "We must proceed with the attack on the Death Star. Every day we delay, the Empire grows stronger. It's suicidal without insider intelligence. Luke is dead, General. We must adapt our plans accordingly. The fleet will hold together. We've come too far to quit now. Besides, you think the kid would want us to give up? He'd probably joke about the odds." "Never tell me the odds." That was my line, not his. But even as they planned, Leia felt something growing within her. Not just the Force, but a terrible certainty that their fate would be decided not in space, but on Endor's forest moon. Vader had become erratic, unpredictable. He'd led 3 unauthorized raids on rebel bases, slaughtering everyone in his path as if trying to burn away his grief through violence. The Emperor watched with interest and concern. In a moment of madness, Vader had even traveled to Tatooine, standing at the edge of the Sarlacc pit as if he could somehow pull his son from its depths. The creature, sensing him, had retreated deeper into the sand. "I would have given you everything. The galaxy, the power to save those you loved. You chose death over your father." But the wind offered no answers, only the echo of his mechanical breathing. As he turned to leave, his boot struck something metallic in the sand. A piece of Luke's lightsaber, expelled by the Sarlacc. Vader picked it up, the broken crystal within still faintly humming with the Force. "Even in death, you haunt me, my son." 2 weeks before the assault on the Death Star, Leia had progressed far enough in her abilities that she could deflect blaster bolts, though not with Luke's grace. She'd constructed a new lightsaber using components from the Rebellion's supplies and a synthetic crystal that glowed silver white, neither Jedi blue nor Sith red, but something entirely her own. "I'm not you, brother. I'll never have your compassion, your patience, but I swear I'll finish what you started." She could feel Vader sometimes, reaching out through the Force, searching. He knew someone was out there, someone connected to Luke, but her mental shields, built from years of resisting Imperial interrogation, held firm. "That's new. The lightsaber, I mean. Luke's is gone. This one's mine. Different path, different weapon. You're planning something stupid, aren't you? Something heroic and stupid. I learned from the best, from both of you." The mission to destroy the shield generator proceeded without the advantage of Luke's surrender creating a distraction. The strike team, Han, Leia, Chewie, and a handful of commandos had to rely entirely on stealth and Leia's growing Force abilities. "I got a bad feeling about this. There are more guards than our intelligence suggested. I can feel them. Everywhere." "Yeah, pal, I don't like it either, but we've come this far." The initial infiltration went smoothly, but as they approached the shield generator bunker, Leia froze. The Force screamed a warning. "It's a trap. The Emperor knows we're here. He's counting on it." "Great, so what do? The fleet's counting on us." "We spring the trap, but on our terms." The battle was brutal. Without the Ewoks' initial trust, earned by Luke's divine presence, the strike team had to fight alone until Leia, in desperation, reached out through the Force to the native creatures, showing them the Empire's cruelty, the destruction it would bring to their forests. The Ewoks joined the fight, but the cost was higher, the battle bloodier. Then, in the forest, surrounded by the corpses of stormtroopers and the burning wreckage of AT-STs, he appeared. Darth Vader emerged from the smoke like a nightmare made real, his lightsaber casting bloody light through the trees. So, the Force has awakened in you, young one. The Emperor suspected as much. You are Luke Skywalker's sister, my daughter. Leia ignited her silver-white blade, its unusual color reflecting her unique path. You killed him! You killed my brother! He died as a Jedi. There are worse fates. He died believing there was still good in you. He was wrong. Their duel was nothing like the elegant battles of old. Leia fought with fury, with grief, with all the rage of a sister who had lost the brother she'd barely had time to know. Vader seemed almost to be going through the motions, parrying her wild strikes without truly attacking. You want to kill me? Good. Use your anger, strike me down, and your journey to the dark side will be complete. Shut up! You don't get to quote Emperor rhetoric at me. You don't get to pretend this is some grand plan. Luke is dead because of you. Luke is dead because he was weak, as was I, for believing he could. He stopped, catching her blade on his own. Above them, the space battle raged. The Imperial fleet, preparing and waiting, was decimating the rebellion. Why? Why did you fall? What could possibly be worth becoming this? To save her. To save your mother. I would have done anything, become anything, and in the end, I lost everything. The admission stunned Leia into stillness. In that moment, she saw not the monster, but the man. Broken, hollow, existing only because he didn't know how to stop. Luke was right about one thing. You are already dead. You died the day you put on that mask. Yes, but you still have a choice. The shield generator, you can bring it down. You can save the fleet, and doom the Empire. And save the galaxy, save your daughter. Isn't that what you wanted to do for her? For our mother? They stood there, father and daughter, separated by 20 years of darkness and united by the ghost of the boy who'd believed in redemption. He would have forgiven you. Even at the end, even as the Sarlacc took him, Luke would have forgiven you. Something broke in Vader then. Not redemption, not quite, but a crack in the armor of hatred he'd worn for so long. The generator. I'll handle it. Go. The Emperor will kill you. Yes, perhaps that too is a kind of redemption. Tell your rebellion. Tell them Anakin Skywalker remembered who he was, if only for a moment. Leia ran through the forest as explosions rocked the bunker behind her. Vader had kept his word. The shield fell as the rebel fleet was on the verge of annihilation. We're going in! All fighters, follow me! Right behind you, Gold Leader. Aboard the Death Star, Emperor Palpatine's rage was cosmic. Vader stood before him, no longer kneeling. You failed me for the last time, Lord Vader. My name is Anakin Skywalker. The lightning came without warning, without mercy. Vader, Anakin, didn't try to defend himself. As his systems failed, as his armor became his tomb, he had one last thought. I'm sorry, Luke. I'm sorry. The Death Star died in a blast that lit up Endor's sky. With it died the Emperor, Anakin Skywalker, and the Empire's iron grip on the galaxy. The celebration should have been joyous, but for Leia, victory tasted like ash. She stood apart from the others as Ewoks and rebels danced around bonfires. The Force was with her now, she could feel it, but it was a burden, not a gift. She was the last of the Jedi lineage, barely trained, carrying the legacy she'd never asked for. Hey, we won. Did we? The Sith are gone, but so are the Jedi. The prophecy of the Chosen One, bringing balance. What if this isn't balance? What if it's just emptiness? Then we fill it with something better. You and me and Chewie and whoever else is crazy enough to help. We build something new. I don't know how to be a Jedi, Han. Luke barely started teaching me through those recordings before. Then don't be a Jedi. Be Leia. That's always been enough. She leaned into him, feeling the Force swirl around them. Not light, not dark, but something in between. Something new. Luke was gone. The old orders were dead. But perhaps from those ashes, something unprecedented could grow. In the celebration's firelight, Leia thought she saw them. Luke, young and smiling, standing beside a man she'd never met, but somehow recognized as Anakin Skywalker before he fell. They were at peace, both of them, and though she couldn't hear them, she felt their blessing. The galaxy would need protectors. It would need wisdom and strength and hope. It would need her. Come on, your worship. The future can wait until tomorrow. As they walked toward the firelight, toward their friends, toward an uncertain but free future, Leia Organa, last of the Skywalkers, first of something new, allowed herself a small smile. Luke had died believing in hope. The least she could do was try to prove him right. The Empire had fallen. The rebellion had won. And somewhere in the Force, a farm boy from Tatooine finally found the peace he'd been seeking all along. Balance, Leia realized, didn't always come the way prophecies predicted. Sometimes it came through sacrifice. Sometimes through unexpected heroes. And sometimes, just sometimes, it came when the galaxy's last hope passed their light to another, trusting them to carry it forward into whatever dawn awaited. The funeral pyre burnt long into the night, not for Luke, whose body the Sarlacc had claimed, but for the idea of what the Jedi had been. But morning always comes, even to the darkest corners of the galaxy, and with it, a new hope. Different from the old, harder edged perhaps, but no less bright for all that. The saga had ended, the story, however, was just beginning. If you enjoyed this journey into the shadows of what might have been, remember to hit that subscribe button and join us for more explorations of the infinite possibilities within that galaxy far, far away. May the Force be with you, always.